Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. We're going to be tackling a pretty important topic today, one that's been popping up more and more in the news, and you know what that means.
Definitely important for those UPSC exams.
Yeah, you got it, both for prelims and mains. And we're going straight to the source for this one.
The Hindu.
Yep, that's right. Always got to stay on top of current affairs, right? So today we're diving into servicification of manufacturing. Sounds kind of jargony, but bear with us.
Oh, it's a really interesting concept.
It is, and probably not what you think. I mean, when you hear manufacturing, what comes to mind?
Big factories.
Yep,
Assembly lines.
exactly. But it's actually becoming a lot more than that.
Oh, a lot more.
So to help us break it all down, we've got an expert here with us today.
Happy to be here.
So maybe we can start with a simple explanation. What exactly is servicification of manufacturing?
So basically, it's this trend where we're seeing manufacturers, they're starting to integrate services into their business models.
Okay, so it's not just about making the product anymore. It's about the whole experience that comes with it.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, so it's like they're adding this whole other layer to their traditional manufacturing operations.
Got it. So how does this actually work in practice? Can you give us some examples?
Absolutely. So think about it on like three levels. The first one is at the production stage.
Okay, so like right in the factory.
Yeah, right in the factory. They're
Yeah.
using, all the fancy tech stuff like AI, you know, artificial intelligence, data analytics.
That's hot right now.
It is to kind of supercharge their processes, make them way more efficient.
Okay, I'm following you.
So, imagine like a car manufacturer, right? And they're using sensors all over the place in their factory.
Gotcha.
And those sensors are gathering all this data, and then they feed that data to an AI.
So the AI can be like, hey, this part's about to break.
Exactly. It can predict when a part might fail,
Wow.
so they can, fix it before it actually causes a problem.
That's wild. So it's about being proactive, preventing issues before they even happen.
That's it. And that saves them money, saves them downtime, keeps things running smoothly.
Smart. What about the second level?
So the second level, it's about product enhancement.
Okay, so this is where they're adding services to the product itself.
Exactly. So it's not just about the physical product anymore. It's about all the extras that come with it. Like, think about smart appliances, for example.
Okay, yeah, those are getting pretty popular.
Right. Like you buy a refrigerator now and it's like a computer.
It is. My fridge has Wi-Fi. It's kind of scary.
Right. And it comes with software updates.
Oh, so you need to update your refrigerator now? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. And troubleshooting support, if something goes wrong.
Okay.
It's almost like, a subscription service, but for your fridge.
Right. So they're adding value to the product, making it more useful and appealing over time.
Exactly. And that, helps build customer loyalty. People are more likely to stick with the brand if they feel like they're getting more than just the basic product.
Makes sense. Okay, now I'm really curious about this third level. You said this is where things get really interesting.
This is where it gets really transformative. So we're talking about the business model itself changing.
Whoa, big changes. Hit me with it.
So companies, instead of just selling a product, they're now offering like complete solutions.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a big shift. So for example, let's say a company needs a 3D printer, right?
Okay, yeah.
In the past, they would have just bought it outright.
Right. Big upfront cost, but then it's theirs.
Exactly. But now they might lease it from the manufacturer instead.
Interesting.
And for that lease, they get, the 3D printer, of course, but they also get the software, the training, the maintenance, maybe even like, upgrades and stuff.
It's like a whole package deal.
Exactly. All for a monthly fee, kind of like a subscription model.
Wow. So this servicification thing, it's really shaking things up.
Big time. And it's something we're seeing across different industries, not just manufacturing.
So this is like a big economic trend, right? Not just a business thing.
Absolutely. And it ties in directly with some of the things we've been seeing in the Indian economy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, how does this all connect to, say, the Economic Survey 2024-25? Didn't they talk about wages and profits?
They did.
I knew I read that somewhere.
Yeah, they highlighted this kind of interesting trend. Corporate profits are going up, but wages aren't keeping pace.
Yeah, that's a problem,
Oh.
and a big one, I think. So are we saying that this shift towards servicification is somehow contributing to this wage gap?
Well, it's definitely part of the conversation. The survey raised some concerns about, how sustainable this profit boom can be if wages don't start catching up.
Right, because if people aren't earning enough, how can they afford to buy all these products and services that companies are now offering?
Exactly. And that could have a real impact on long-term economic growth.
Makes sense. But I do remember the CII president. He made the argument that businesses are increasing salaries.
Oh, yeah, I read that article.
Yeah, he basically said comparing current wage trends to the past might not be totally accurate because of this whole servicification thing.
That's a good point because, with servicification comes outsourcing, right?
All right. So companies are focusing on their core manufacturing activities and then outsourcing other functions to, like, specialized service providers.
Right, like a manufacturing firm, they might outsource their logistics to a company that specializes in that.
Right. Or IT or customer service or
Or, any number of things. And that creates jobs in the service sector.
even if it reduces direct employment within the manufacturing firm itself.
Exactly. So the employment landscape is changing.
That makes those straight-up wage comparisons, comparing factory worker salaries from today to, say, 10 years ago, kind of tricky.
Very tricky. It's a lot more nuanced than it used to be.
Okay, so this servicification thing, it's clearly a double-edged sword. There are pros and cons to consider for the companies, for the economy, for the workers themselves.
Definitely.
So let's break that down a bit. What are some of the benefits of servicification? Let's start with the companies. How does this help them?
Well, for companies, it can open up all these new revenue streams.
Okay, yeah, more ways to make money.
Exactly. Plus, like we were talking about before, it can really help build customer loyalty.
Right, that ongoing relationship through service contracts and all that.
And that can be really valuable. It also allows companies to stand out from the competition,
Oh yeah, especially in the global market.
especially in the global market. Everyone's making products these days, but if you can offer a complete solution, that gives you a real edge.
True. It's like, yeah, we make the product, but we also make sure it works perfectly for you all the time.
That's the idea. And then there's the sustainability angle.
Ooh, that's important.
Right. So think about phone manufacturers offering repair services or using recycled components in their products.
Keeping products in use longer, reducing waste. That's
Well,
great.
exactly. It's a win-win. Good for the company, good for the environment.
Okay, those are some pretty compelling benefits.
Yeah.
But what about the challenges? What are some of the potential downsides of servicification?
Well, the biggest one, I think, is the upfront investment.
Right, got to spend money to make money. But how so?
Well, companies need to invest in new technology,
To handle all these services, all the data, all the...
all of it. And they need to train their workforce, give them the skills they need to operate in this new service-oriented environment.
Okay. So there are costs involved, both in terms of technology and in terms of people.
Right. And then there's the challenge of actually managing all of this. Running a manufacturing operation is already complex.
I can imagine.
But when you add services on top of that, it gets even more complicated.
Right. You've got two different sides of the business that you need to juggle.
And they have to work together seamlessly.
Right. So you're dealing with production, you're dealing with services. You need to make sure they're both running smoothly and that they're integrated with each other.
Exactly. And then there's the workforce challenge.
Oh, yeah. We touched on that earlier.
Right. As companies shift towards servicification, the skills that workers need, they're changing too.
So what kinds of skills are we talking about?
Well, you need people who are comfortable with technology, who can analyze data,
Problem solver.
problem solvers, people who can communicate effectively with customers, build those relationships.
Right. So soft skills are becoming even more important in this new world.
They're crucial.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Yeah, the last challenge, and this is a big one, is customer perception.
What do you mean?
Well, some customers might be resistant to this whole servicification thing. They might
Yeah.
be used to getting certain services for free.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like if you buy a product, you expect a certain level of basic support.
Exactly. But with servicification, companies are starting to charge for those services.
So it's a bit of a mind shift for consumers. They have to get used to this idea of paying for something that they might have been getting for free before.
And that can be a tough sell, especially in the beginning.
Okay, so a lot to think about here.
A lot to think about, but it's definitely a topic worth understanding, especially for you UPSC aspirants out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, UPSC folks, listen up. This entire conversation, this is gold for your exam prep. Don't just let this information go in one ear and out the other. This is the kind of stuff they love to ask about.
Seriously. I mean, think about it. This whole servicification of manufacturing thing, it touches on so many different aspects of the economy, of society, even of technology.
It's like a perfect UPSC topic. So
Right.
how might this actually show up on the exam?
Well, you might get a question asking you to analyze the impact of servicification on India's manufacturing sector.
Okay, yeah, how's it changing the way things are made? How's it affecting growth?
Exactly. Or you might have to evaluate its implications for employment and wages.
Like we were talking about earlier, how's it changing the types of jobs that are available? Are those jobs paying well?
Right. You might even have to assess the role of government policies.
In promoting or regulating servicification. Yeah, I can totally see that.
Or you might have to formulate arguments for and against servicification.
From different socioeconomic perspectives, that's classic UPSC. They love to make you think critically, look at things from all angles.
They do, and that's why it's so important to really understand this topic, to be able to articulate your own informed opinion. Don't just memorize facts. Think about the bigger picture.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Any final thoughts for our listeners today before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would say, this is just the beginning of the conversation. We've just scratched the surface here. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking questions. Think about how this shift towards servicification might reshape India's position in the global economy.
That's a great question to ponder. Big thank you to our expert for taking the time to break all this down for us.
Anytime.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us for another deep dive.
See ya.
Don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you found this helpful, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into UPSC relevant topics. Until next time, happy studying.